Hello, everyone, and welcome to the AVA's 6 month anniversary. The AVA has finally turned 6 months old, and it's been a hell of a ride. We've almost completed 10 seasons. We're entering our 10th now. So today we're going to do a few different things. And we have a live audience. This is being recorded. If any of them want to chime in, they'll be uploaded as well. And I'm really excited for today's show. We're going to be doing the All Decades team. But first up, real quick, I want to talk about our giveaway. So we partnered with NBA Chat, and this is going on the BBGM Multiplayer YouTube, and also for GM Games YouTube. I'm on both of those. Um, by all means, check out this giveaway. Basically, if you join the BCC Discord server, the NBA chat server, and you follow the various channels listed, which I'll have a link to this in the YouTube description, you can be entered to win an Xbox and a copy of NBA 2K20. Shout out real quick to Space Force Ghost for doing this. He did a phenomenal job getting this promotion, and I'm so excited for the BBGM community. So, with no further comments on that, it's been a crazy decade in AVA. We started with a very low activity, which led to the Boston Braves and Bruce Gregory winning 2 championships. But that's where things got really
Rick.
crazy. The first 2 seasons, basically there was 3 teams contending: Carolina, Boston, and Seattle. Then Vancouver entered the scene that next season, and that was I Love Waffles' breakout. His team was absolutely dominant for the next 2 seasons, and would win the 2020 championship. Carolina finally won one with Michael Briggs in 2023. 2024 would go to Anaheim, which has always been a contender. I think they've been a top 3 seed every single season. Vancouver would then repeat with John Banks as their best player. He had been on their first championship team and is the closest thing they got to a franchise player at the time. Then New Jersey, which was basically had developed into the Anaheim of the East, would win a championship with Muse Adams. Perhaps my favorite Finals MVP was Hubert Frezwanowicz, or whatever his name is. He's a massive defensive player that has like the worst offensive game ever, but somehow he won Finals MVP on a stacked team. 2027 was won by JJ. Unfortunately, it would be his last full season in the league, but Marcus McPherson would win him a ring before departing in free agency, and LeBron would actually win Finals MVP in 2027. So this was a crazy decade, and it couldn't be capped off any way different than a huge shout out to the Miami Floridians, B. Kinney, and Jay Kumar, who would become the first team with a cap, and they were a mostly cap-led team to win a championship. Granted, at this point, to win with a cap is a little bit less impressive than it was when there was 4 caps, because now there's over 50 caps, and I'm so excited. I never could imagine us becoming such a big hybrid server. We're the first accredited hybrid server. I think we've probably become the real pinnacle of what a hybrid server can be. And I'm proud to say that ABA has become one of the best leagues on BBGM multiplayer. So now let's talk about what everyone came here to see, the All Decade Awards. The first award is Most Clutch. This goes to dominant playoff performer Jet Stevens, who's averaged a career 22 points per game and 9.1 rebounds this decade, who led Vancouver to a championship, but was robbed of Finals MVP thanks to Arthur Peterson, who we'll talk about later. But Jet Stevens has been a huge performer. He just led Chicago to the playoffs. Prior to that, he made KC look good. I mean, Jet Stevens has been a phenomenal player in the league, and he can't be overrated in my opinion. I think he's one of the best bigs in the league. Still a free agent as of now, though he will be signing later today. Next up, best shooter of the decade. That goes to AO Lockdown McKinney. 42% from deep for his career, which is an unprecedented amount. I mean, he's been an absolute force, a true two-way player, became a real superstar since he's joined Milwaukee, won a championship in Anaheim. I mean, he's one of the best two-way players in the league. If only he could get his free throw percentage to 80%, he'd be truly unstoppable. So next up, we're going to be taking a look at the best passer. I accidentally forgot to put his assist total there. My bad. Marcus McPherson. Marcus McPherson was one of the best all-around players, the first player in in ABA history to average a triple-double. He carried Utah to a championship, only to be replaced by LeBron. But Marcus McPherson goes down as one of the true goats so far in ABA. So here's the all-decade team. Is this what you guys are waiting for, or what?
And no best rebounder?
Let's go. Let's go.
Best rebounder got cut. Here we're looking at starting
Dang.
lineup. Arthur Peterson, the second all-time leading scorer, all-time leader in assists. Um, he is just a phenomenal player for team history, like just league history. Marcus Buckner, another journeyman veteran, and both of them the top two leading scorers all time. Buckner at number one, and then third place Jacob Anura for Detroit. I mean, these three have been such a vital piece of the league. And then Ty Jackson, the perennial defensive player of the year, the GOAT cat. He might not have an MVP under his belt, but he's been a true superstar for Milwaukee. And even prior to that, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with as their shutdown defender with Seth Ginn during the Twin Towers era. He's been an unbelievable addition to the league. And Matt Pitts is known for his time in Seattle, the Space Needle himself. He is the all-time greatest center in league history. Briefly played in Chicago, and this is such a great lineup. All of these guys have been such important members of the league. It is worth noting Arthur Peterson is the only one of these guys with a ring. There, I believe, Onura has made it to the championship. Pitts has made it to the championship, but none of them have won except for Arthur Peterson, who won with Vancouver 2023, where he would also win Finals MVP. Peterson being young, his career has a crazy high sky. I'm looking forward to what he does in San Diego. And with that, we'll go on to the reserves. So the reserves are John Banks, Joe Johnson, Bruce Gregory, Byron
Yes, sir.
Potter, Shaheen Nichols, Jet Stevens, Max Powers, Dedrick Bonville, Marcus McPherson, and James Halinga. We have almost every team in the ABA represented in this all-decade team. This has been such a balanced decade especially over the last 6 or so seasons. Shout outs to all of these guys, but I just want to note Joe Johnson, ISO Joe, I believe is the only all-decade player that only played for one team, with the exception of Jacob Anura. And I think that we have a very low trade rate compared to other leagues, but BBGM just really likes to make those trades. And I like the activity, so it's not a bad thing.
Excuse me, where is Marcus Trustus?
Oh, you're about to see.
Oh,
Honorable mentions: Marcus Trustus, and Brian Weber, Donovan Butler, Ray Washington, C.J. Evans, Marcus Trustus himself, and Colton Coleman. I wanted to put these guys in there so bad. They were such a big part of the decade. Unfortunately, they're just not quite there. I think if C.J. Evans was a little bit younger, he probably would have gone in. Donovan Butler, if he was a little older, would have gone in. I mean, having Butler out of there was really difficult because he's had some insane seasons. One of the best all-around players in the league right now. And Toronto's got to be happy to have him. Brian Weber's he's the bottom of this group for me. Great player, but he hasn't really been a true superstar, more just a really high-quality star. And with that, we will move on to all-time greatest GM. So I did a top 5.
Marcus, you probably would have been in the reserves if you came to Milwaukee.
Probably. Here you'll see the top 5 GMs of all time. Coming in at number 5, Complete Fleecer. His teams are always in the top 2, 3 teams in the league. Number 4, Real G Wood. That's right. Putting myself in there. But the reason I'm
Also,
putting
know
myself in
me.
there is for the back-to-back rings at the start. Number 3, I Love Waffles. Vancouver has been a force for this decade. I don't think I Love Waffles' impact on the league can be understated. And his 2 championships and just dominance for so long is only really rivaled by Carolina and Anaheim. And coming in number 2, he's not with us anymore. JJ for Utah. He built a perennial contender, a dominant team. And JJ can't be thanked enough for what he set up in this league. Utah was so dominant that mods didn't want McPherson to go back. That's how great this guy was. He had $30 million of cap room and a team rating over 100. And the greatest GM in ABA history so far, in through our first 10 seasons, is Hugh. His team has just always been top 4 in the league. He's done a phenomenal job consistently building and rebuilding just within the same season, making constant moves, balancing the cap like no one else. He's also a huge part of our mod team here, and I just want to put a special thank you aside for him. And with that, we'll take a look at the greatest rivalries. There's 2 I want to mention: the Anaheim Amigos versus the Miami Floridans. Twice Miami reverse swept Anaheim back when they were in Chicago, and that's just amazing. 2 reverse sweeps in back-to-back seasons. B. Kinney has been a phenomenal GM for them, and he would probably be my next up. Had he not been MIA for the first few seasons, he definitely would have been the GOAT GM. Him and Hughes' rivalry is awesome to watch. And the player rivalry, Ty Jackson versus Byron Powers. I mean, there's legitimate bitterness between these 2 guys. It is amusing to watch. So anyway, I think that's all I got here. Yeah, that's all I got here. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
And I am, of course, better because I am the starter and he is the reserve.
This is true. I just want to thank everyone for what was a super fun season and a super fun 10 seasons. I look forward to many more. And I can't thank you guys enough for your cooperation. I know the mod team isn't perfect, but you guys have been incredibly great for us. And with that, I'm going to end the recording, but we're probably going to just hang out for a little bit. And thank you to everyone. And let's see who's the best in 10 more seasons.